If you've retired in the last year or so and the excitement has worn off and you've started quietly, feeling useless, even though nothing in your life has actually gone wrong, this video is for you. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that is, why it's happening, why the obvious fixes don't touch it, and the one thing that actually pulled me out of it. It happened to me about 4 months in. Nobody warned me, so I'm warning you. Let me describe it, and you tell me if any of this sounds familiar. The first stretch of retirement was good, maybe great. You slept in, you caught up on everything you've been putting off, and you finally had time. And then somewhere around, I don't know, maybe month 3 or 4, something changed. And it's hard to point at because on paper you're busy, right? And you're doing the shopping, you're doing the cooking, you're keeping the house, you're walking the dog. Um, every one of those things is necessary, and somebody has to do them. But at the end of the day, you couldn't tell anybody what you actually did. And here's the part that makes people keep quiet about all that. And it's that feeling of guilt for feeling that way. And you worked your whole life to get there. Your spouse is happy, nothing's wrong. What exactly are you complaining about, basically? And so if that's landing, stay with me, because you're not depressed, you're not ungrateful, and your retirement was not a mistake. Something specific is going on, and it's got a name. So before I go any further, stick with me right to the end of this one, because the thing that actually turned this around for me wasn't a strategy, and it wasn't a book, and it wasn't anything that, I worked out on my own. It was one little word that my wife said to me. And I'll tell you what that is right at the end. And I'd ask you to wait for it, because whichever side you're on, if you're the one that's struggling or the one that's married to someone who is, that's the word you need to say, or the word that you need to hear. I retired in December of 2025, and first week of January we hit the road. My wife Jan is a travel nurse, so we go where her assignments go. Our first stop was a small town in northern BC where her parents live, and I had a full day there. The basement washroom floor I changed out for my in-laws, and the cabinetry in all 3 washrooms I refinished them all, and then remodeled. A friend of the family's, I remodeled their washroom for them, and I love doing it. Those are people I love, and every one of those jobs had a start and a finish. And at the end of the day, the room was different than it was, that morning, and it stayed different. And they told me it mattered. They appreciated what I did, and they said so out loud. I mean, I thought I had cracked retirement. I was a little smug about it, honestly. Then Jan's next assignment came up. Oliver, BC, down in South Okanagan. And that was good news, man. We've been going down there for years. Took the kids there when they were small, and we go back on our own now that, our kids are grown. And we love it there. We had a beautiful Airbnb right on the water. And about a week in, it landed on me. I was keeping the house clean, I was cooking, I was doing all the necessary things, taking the dog for a walk, and something was missing though. And I couldn't have told you what. Then I don't know. I want you to notice something about that, because it matters more than anything else in this story. There was nothing wrong with where I was. Gorgeous place, lake out the window, a town we loved for, as long as we've been going there. My wife is happy and healthy, and right there with me. And if it can happen there, it isn't about your circumstances. So stop looking at your circumstances for the cause, because you're not going to find it. Here's what I eventually worked out, and it took me months. At my in-laws' place, I was building. In Oliver, I was sustaining. And those are not the same job. When you build something, it stays built, right? There's a moment where you step back and it's finished, and somebody can see it, and you can point at it, and you can say it's good or bad or whatever. And, when you sustain something, it never finishes. Like, so I wash the dishes here, I sweep the floor, and, I got to do it again tomorrow. You know, so people don't notice that. Nobody notices that because it's something that you have to do. And you know, like if you leave the dishes, then somebody will notice because they're piling up. But it's a thankless job, and nobody notices it at all unless you stop doing it, like I just said, right? Now think about what a career actually is, you know, 30, 40 years, I don't know how long, you know, whatever your situation is, of being measured by finished things and projects completed and problems solved and, you know, shifts that you might have worked or somebody signing off on. Whatever your version was, I mean, you got a steady drip of, hey, that's done. And, you know, it was you who did it. And then when you retire, almost overnight, your entire day becomes a sustaining work. Necessary, endless, invisible, and nobody hands you a new yardstick, you know, so you keep using the old one, and the old one reads 0. And that's the whole thing. You haven't lost your purpose. You've kind of lost your evidence. Now, when you tell somebody about this, you get a fairly predictable set of suggestions. So let me save you some time on 3 of them. 1, get a hobby, right? Travel more, relax. More leisure is the exact opposite of what's needed. Leisure doesn't produce finished objects. You know, if your problem is that nothing you do leaves a mark, adding more things that leave no mark is pouring water in a bucket with no bottom, I think, right? And I was in the Okanagan and it didn't help. Number 2, your partner reassuring you. I think this is one of the cruelest because it comes from love, right? Your spouse tells you that of course you matter. I mean, look at everything you do around here, kind of thing. And it doesn't land. Not because they're wrong and not because, you know, you don't believe them, but because you're measuring with 2 different instruments. They're measuring you by who you are, and you're measuring you by what you finished this week. Those don't convert. And number 3, you know, it doesn't pass on its own. I mean, I gave it a couple of months and it got heavier, not lighter. And the one nobody mentions, I mean, if your spouse still works and you don't, there's a version of this that's built right into your day, and neither of you chose it. I mean, Jan walks into a hospital in a brand new town and she's the nurse, day 1. She's needed before she's even unpacked. I mean, I arrive at the same town and I'm the guy who used to be somebody 4 months ago. You know, and it kind of drags you down, right? Not having something that you finish in a day, or, you know, something that's, you're just sustaining, like we talked about earlier. And that's not her fault, and it's not mine. But if one of you is retired and one of you isn't, some version of that is going, you know, it's coming, and you better to see it coming. All right, if you're still with me, this is the part I actually made this video for. Everything up to here was the diagnosis. This is the treatment. So here's the fix, and it's almost stupidly simple. And you need one thing that produces a finished object. One, not a full calendar, you know, one thing. But, you know, it can't be just anything. I mean, this is where I think a lot of people go wrong. I mean, it has to pass 4 tests. 1, it has to finish. I mean, there has to be a moment where it's done. I mean, a thing that exists at the end of, you know, that didn't exist at the start, right? Tidying doesn't count. Maintaining doesn't count. Number 2, somebody other than you has to receive it. It has to leave your hands. A completed, you know, thing nobody is, you know, ever sees is a hobby, and hobbies that are lovely, but I mean, they don't do this job. 3, it needs a real deadline. I mean, something external, not a promise you make to yourself, right? A promise you make to yourself is a suggestion. And that's why publishing a schedule works. And the day arrives whether you are ready or not. And number 4, it has to be yours. I mean, not a job that somebody assigned you, not a chore that got upgraded, you know, something you chose, right? That would not exist if you hadn't decided it should. For me, it was this. I mean, this channel, camera, script, edit, upload, a finished thing, you know, every single week that goes out to people on a day I don't control. But it doesn't have to be a channel, right? That's the thing. It can be alternatives to that. You know, as long as it passes all 4 of those in the 4 tests, the kind of thing, you know, that you pick, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the medium is. The 4 tests matter. One more practical thing, because the hardest part isn't picking the thing. It's saying it out loud. I sat on this for the rest of our time in Oliver, and then 5 more weeks after it, back at Jan's parents' house. And a couple of months, you know, all told, walking around inside my own head, right? And partly it felt ungrateful, and partly, you know, I guess I'm a man of a certain generation, and I don't feel useful is not a sentence we were issued. But mostly I still couldn't name it, and you cannot say a thing you can't name, right? And when I finally did tell her, I said I needed something, and I said I'd been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, you know, about retirement, and that I had no idea what it would look like or whether anybody would watch a minute of it. But, you know, now the word I promised, you know, to you at the beginning of the video, here it is. You know what she said to me? She said, okay. That was it. That was the whole thing. She didn't laugh at me. She didn't ask if I'd make any money. You know, she didn't say, well, who the hell is going to watch you? Or, you know, what I knew about making videos. She just understood I needed something. And I felt better. You know, I felt much better the moment she said it. Not weeks later, you know, on Salt Spring Island, when the video finally, you know, went up to YouTube, right then, standing in her parents' kitchen. One word. That's all it, you know, that's all it took. And I'd waited 2 months to give her the chance to say it, you know. So if you're on the other side of this, if you're the one still working, or the one who's fine and your partner has gone quiet, don't reassure them. Don't list off everything they do around the house. That's the wrong tool. Ask them what they'd build if they could build anything. And when they tell you, say okay. I mean, Salt Spring Island was the next assignment, and that's where the first video got made, written, shot, edited, posted, right there on the island. And I'll be straight with you. Finishing it felt fantastic. Felt great, man. Then I watched it back and I thought, that's horrendous. But you know what? It didn't matter. That's the point I'm trying to make. It was finished. It existed, and somebody other than me could see it. That's what did the work. So if you're 4 months in and the shine has come off, you know, and you feel guilty for feeling that way, you're not broken, and you're not. Your retirement isn't a mistake. You just run out of evidence, and go make something, one thing, and let me know what you pick. Not settle down, not settling for less. See you in the next one.
Let's go. We ain't slowing down, baby. Come and show me how. Gotta do it right now. You know you gotta hold me down. Can I let the moment pass? Good things, they never last. Pull up in a whip, you know I had to hit the gas. Yeah, that's premium. Pull up with a team and I ain't worried about the other side. They know that they ain't beating. I'm on everything I love. Work to the man above. Keep it cool, calm, collected. At this point, you get the message. Life is hectic, but we